do you study the Bible? I've wanted to add this question to the list of midweek musings for a while now, but held off because it can be quite a scary question for people. Most people don't want to be asked about the way or frequency they read our scriptures, especially by a priest for some reason. However, no matter what your answer is or where you are in this part of your faith journey, it's an important question and practice to reflect on as we grow in our relationship with God. I've gone through numerous ways of studying the Bible. My first memories of reading scripture on my own was as a child during our garden watches on Maundy Thursday. As a child, I have memories of going into an empty, candlelit church with my godmother and sitting in the church pews for an hour. I wasn't entirely sure what I was supposed to be doing. I could gather I was not supposed to fall asleep. My godmother would always bring her Bible from home and spend the hour reading it to herself. She never specifically asked me to read mine during the time, but she would always ask me to bring it to this yearly tradition. Eventually, I would open the Bible to the first page. Where else are you supposed to start a book? And I would begin reading through the book of Genesis for the rest of the hour. Now, I will admit to you, after that hour, I didn't continue my reading of scripture, something I would never admit to my godparents today. But each year, I would return to the garden watch, start again at page 1, and read a little bit further in the book of Genesis. I guess my reading speed got faster each year. It ended up being a nice tradition and my first independent Bible study, even if it was the same piece of scripture over and over again. In the years since this Garden Watch Bible study, I've learned about scripture in many different ways. If I noted all of the different ways I've studied the Bible, this would be a very long midweek musing. But the important thing to know is I've not always studied the Bible in the same way. And it has included personal study as well as study in groups and in church during worship as I listened and reflected on the readings I would hear with my community. As I changed, so did how I studied the Bible. And I often found beauty and health in that. I often felt guided by the Spirit in this journey of study. Most recently, I study the Bible through my Bible journal. I purchased this Bible journal as a gift to myself a few months ago. Each day, I read a part of the Bible, and I'm currently using a 1-year plan I found online. And in my Bible journal, I make notes, I write questions, or I just draw pictures of what I'm connecting with that day. And it's a wonderful part of my day where I feel I'm connected in prayer, I am creative, and I'm connected to these ancient words and stories. Studying the Bible, that is, exploring it through prayer, research, and reflection, is an important part of my faith. And so I work to make study of scripture an intentional part of my day. It's not always easy, to say the least, but in the midst of everything else in the world, it continues to keep me constantly learning, full of wonder, and grounded in hope. I invite you to reflect on this question yourself. How do you study the Bible? Have your practices changed over time? What hopes do you have for the future of how you study our scripture? As you explore this for yourself, I would love to hear your midweek musing. It is an honor to grow in faith together, even while apart.